Last night, the Brothers of Italy and other populist alliances won the election in Italy that is going to shift Italy in a completely different direction. The leader of this alliance, Giorgia Meloni, is a populist. She is an Italian first politician. And of course, Europe and the American press, the mainstream press in Europe and America, are absolutely losing their minds because this person won the election hands down. In this article by Red State, it says here that this coalition wins in Italy, and the American press is losing its mind. It says here, Italy held its national elections on Sunday, and the results already have the global left seeing red. Exit polls show that the right-wing alliance will win a sizable majority, with a government being formed behind Giorgia Meloni as prime minister. Meloni will be the first woman in the country's history to hold the position. Where are the feminists? Here we have a woman breaking the glass ceiling of Italian politics, becoming the first prime minister of Italy. Where are the feminists? Why aren't they jumping up and down and celebrating because Meloni has become prime minister? You don't hear that from them, do you? You don't see them on TV. They're not tweeting congratulations because she's the wrong woman that they want in power. They want people like Hillary Clinton and AOC and people like this. They want these kinds of women in power. But a conservative woman, oh no, they don't talk about that. They don't even recognize that. But she's the first woman in the country's history to hold this position. And then it says here that it shows a video, 30-second video that provides a good summation of her viewpoints. And what are some of those viewpoints? Well, Political lists them here. Meloni's political ideology rejects progressive values. It's built on defending national borders, national interests, and the traditional family. She has always been staunchly anti-drugs and anti-abortion, although she insists she won't ban abortion outright. She resents what she sees from the elitist left dominance of political discourse and the Italian establishment, in particular academia and the justice system. She says that they call us monsters. So this is what her views are. And it says, naturally, back to this article, someone who has those political views must be evil, according to the left. CBS News did a report accusing her of being a fascist because that's the only insult they know. When you don't agree with the left, well, then you must be a fascist. And you see that going around on Twitter, in the mainstream news, calling her a fascist. But Meloni does not, in fact, lead a neo-fascist movement. As far as I can tell, none of her proposed policies are fascist. They may make those on the left upset, especially regarding immigration and LGBT stuff, but that's not the standard for fascism. Now, and then it goes on to say here, the left claims that if you don't want kids being sexualized by the LGBT lobby, then you must be a fascist. See, when you don't agree with the left, automatically they come up with labels. This is what the left does. This is what the mainstream media does. They come up with labels. They label you. All they're good at, the mainstream media these days, all they are good at, and the left-wing politicians, all they're good at is character assassinations. And they just say, you're a fascist, and everybody's supposed to believe it because it's on TV. It's on mainstream media. It has to be true, right? So it says, if you don't want kids being sexualized, you must be a fascist. If you don't want unlimited Muslim immigration that is driving up crime rates, then you must be a fascist. We all know how the game is played, and it's all meaningless at this point. No one takes the left's rantings seriously, not anymore. And then it says, regardless, what has been made clear over the last year is that Europe is shifting. Right-wing or populist governments are taking power all over the continent, and that's because the left overplayed their hand. And you see that it just happened in Sweden, the national rally in France. It says they thought they could usher in an era of deranged cultural decadence coupled with economic malaise without consequences. Obviously, voters have different ideas. And of course, again, the left, if you don't agree with them, of course, they call you a fascist. Now, here's an interesting article by Reuters. And Reuters says this: Italy election victors aim for rare political stability for once in at least 5 years. It's been, the government has not been stable for 5 years. They've had so many elections. These coalitions keep breaking down, like the Five Star Movement. They had a coalition with the Lega Party, and that collapsed. And Matteo Salvini, he was prime minister for a brief time, and then Draghi came in, and what a mess he made. So now they're finally going to get political stability. And after this election, you needed about 104 seats for a majority. Well, they won 114 seats. This populist alliance with Giorgia Meloni, they won 114 seats, and that is enough to actually change the constitution in Italy if they choose to do so. It says this right-wing alliance that won Italy's national election will usher in a rare era of political stability to tackle an array of problems besieging the Eurozone's third largest economy, one of its senior figures said on Monday. It says, I expect that for at least 5 years we will press ahead without any changes, without any twists, prioritizing the things we need to do, Matteo Salvini said. He's the leader of the League Party, one of the main allies of Meloni's Brothers of Italy. It says, near final results showed the rightist bloc, which also includes Silvio Berlusconi's Forza Italia, should have a solid majority in both houses of parliament, potentially ending years of upheaval and fragile coalitions. And then here it talks about Meloni playing down her pro-fascist roots and portrays it as a mainstream group like the British Conservatives. Of course, they keep saying she's a fascist, but all that was scrapped back in the 1990s. And this party, the Brothers of Italy, has revamped themselves. They're not fascists. They've scrapped all that. They're not fascists. They revamped themselves, and they are a nationalistic, patriotic, populist party. Italy first. Now, one thing that this alliance is also anti-EU. And other populist parties like the Swedish Democrats, the National Rally in France, who are making, of course, the Swedish Democrats won their election. The National Rally in France have taken over parliament. They are all anti-EU, and now Italy is anti-EU, and it's just another step towards the unraveling of the European Union, which this ministry has been saying is going to happen according to Bible prophecy. Bible prophecy shows that the EU is going to unravel, as it says here in Revelation, the 17th chapter, verse 9. It says here, the 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. Here we see a beast with 7 heads and 10 horns, and the woman sits on top of that beast. And if you read our booklet, what is the beast of Revelation? We show you that the beast is Europe. The woman that sits on the beast is the Vatican. And that it says here, the 7 heads are 7 kings or kingdoms. It's synonymous in the Bible. 5 are fallen. 5 successive revivals of the Roman Empire have come and gone, like Justinian, Otto the Great, the Habsburgs. And then we get to the 6th head. It says here, 5 are fallen, 1 is. That's the 6th head. And John was projected forward into time, as we show you in that booklet, to the time of the 6th head of the beast. 1 is. And of course, it started in 1870 with William I of Prussia and Garibaldi. It started, and then it peaked during the time of Hitler and Mussolini. And now we're on the downward slide because they're portrayed as mountains, and mountains rise, peak, and fall in this chapter. They're portrayed as mountains, and it peaked during the time of Hitler and Mussolini, and now we're on the downward slide. The EU is a Nazi plan B. And now people want out of this EU, this socialist entity that has taken over Europe. People now want out of it, including Italy now with Giorgia Meloni and this populist alliance that has taken over Italy. One is, and then it says, and the other is not yet come, that's the seventh and final head, but when it cometh, he must continue a short space. So there are 7 heads. One is, that's the 6th, that's going to come to an end. And then after that comes to an end, when that all unravels the EU, then comes another alliance, the 7th and final head. It will be a church-state government, 10 kings with the beast and the Vatican, and it will mix itself with the miry clay, the black African, North African nations. It will be a huge empire that will fight Christ at his coming. All right, now another news segment, which is good news. And it's wonderful to see this that's happening in the world today. This is by Worthy News. It says here, cities covered in the glory of God. Christians unite worldwide for 10 days of awe prayer event. Christians are actually getting together for the Feast of Trumpets and the 10 days of awe, the 10 days of repentance, the 10 days of prayer, which of course start as I'm doing this video right now, today. Today is the Feast of Trumpets, Rosh Hashanah. Today is a Sabbath. And it says here, thousands of churches in the United States and 43 countries around the world will participate in the 18th annual 10 days unorganized global prayer, even slated for September 25th through August the 5th. And then, of course, sunset on the 5th, August the 6th is the Day of Atonement. The organizers of the organizers of the event invite Christians to join the global upper room with fellow followers of Jesus Christ around the globe to show the unity that Jesus prayed about in the Bible's New Testament in the book of John. These planned prayer gatherings will range from citywide prayer events to small groups. People will also be able to participate through a Zoom meeting that will be live 24 hours a day during the 10-day event. That is absolutely wonderful to see Christians finally realizing that we must keep the Feast of Trumpets and other feasts that are laid out in the Bible. Get our free booklet, Who, What is the Beast of Revelation, downloaded free of charge off our website, britishisrael.ca.